Hello everyone. So let's just wait for everyone to find us. So I've done a little bit of prep because it's crackle paste. I wanted to see if I could give it a chance to work a bit on its own, and I'll finish it off with the heat gun in a minute. I'll just see if anyone can join us. Just get some bits ready. Do say hello if you're joining. I will try and keep up with comments. See how that's looking. Get you straight. Okay. Oh, looks like people are joining. Hi Cleo. Hi Charla. We'll just hold on a minute and we'll get going. Okay, so what I'm going to be working on today is a piece of this. It's I think it's acrylic, so you know, like the titles that are cut out. It's that, so it's like a hard material, or maybe called plexiglass. So I'm going to be working on a piece of this. I thought it was different. It's a frosted sort of look, so it's not clear. It's just something different. Although you can partially see through it. If you can see my stenciling through the back. So I thought it'd be something different to work on. The lovely lady at Wood Out sent me a couple of these in my box, so I thought, oh yeah, let's use that today. I'm also going to be using some AB Studio goodies and some Prima stuff. So I'm going to be using some of the new chipboards and grey boards from AB Studio. So I showed you this one the other week, which was one of my favourites. That is from... I don't know, I put them on the top and now I've buried them. Here we go. Whoops, throw everything on the floor. So it's from this pack. So this is one of the chipboards. So that should be ID 152 chipboard. But if you search by chipboards MDF or by AB Studio, I've also got this big cog piece I popped out, which is from the grey board set, which should be ID 74. I'm going to be using those. Then I've gathered some Prima. These are from the molds. So we've got some cogs. So this is from the Mechanica one. And I've forgotten the name of this one. It's got the clocks on. Hi Lisa. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And then I've also grabbed some metal cogs and some stars, and these two pieces are from the lovely cow at Scrap Lab, so they're 3D printed pieces. And then we've got, for colour, I've grabbed some impasto paints. So I've got black, white and then crimson, which is a pinky red, and keeping with that kind of pinky red feel, I grabbed Shabby Velour and Heather from Fabrika, and Magic Paint Red Wine, which should now be in the stock. This is a really nice one, which we'll use. And the stencil I've used there is AB Studio ID 70. It's one of my favourites, and I've used it with Prima texture paste white crackle. Now I did only prep this not long ago, so it's not dry, so it hasn't crackled great, because ideally you want to put it on and leave it to dry naturally overnight is the best, then you can carry on the next day. And then I just splattered random bits on with a palette knife as well, just for something a bit different. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish drying that off with my heat tool now, so excuse me while I do that. So did you all have a fab Christmas and New Year? I hope you did. Hope Santa brought you everything you wanted, or that you at least got to have a great time with your friends and family, and you know, you were all well and safe and happy. I got to go home for a few days. Whoops, sorry. It went very, very quick, but I got to see everyone, so it was really nice. You know, longer there would have been great, but that's life, isn't it? It goes quick. So yeah, back here again, back at work now. Oh, good, Cleo. Yeah, mine was great. Thankfully no one ill this year, because last year we all had the norovirus, which was really not fun. So that was good. I was worried we were going to be all ill, so that was a big relief. Yeah, saw my grandma, which was nice. Saw my mum and dad, and I saw my brother and a niece and nephew and his partner, and yep, great, rushing around everywhere. And then my friend came to stay for New Year, which was really, really nice, for a few days. And now it's all back to work and all back to normal, and trying to get back to normal, so I thought I would join you here today. So yeah, so this is plastic, but it's heat resistant, if that's the right word. Yeah, heat resistant, so it can withstand heat is what I'm trying to say, because it's used in cutting, and when you cut things, they get hot, like with machines, and this can be cut with a machine. But I assume there's different types, but this is a heat resistant one. So we have got some fine crackles, so that's good. So yeah, with most crackle paste, if you can leave them to dry naturally, you'll get better cracks. So the thicker you put it on and the longer you leave it to dry, you'll get bigger, bolder cracks, if you like. And if you put it on thinner and you dry it with a heat gun, most crackle paste, you'll get finer crackles. So thin and not as deep a crackle, but this is okay. And there are lots and lots of crackle paste rather right there, and also crackle medium. So we showed you the Fabrika one before, which is more like a gel. I've got it here. I won't bore you trying to find it, but it goes on like a liquid, so you put it on top of paint rather than a paste. No, it's not, Lisa. No, I'm sure you could pick some of this up though. Maybe from somewhere like B&Q or something would probably have something like this, or maybe if you contacted someone like Bramble Fox, they might have something similar. I imagine this is like what they cut their words out with. But this was from Wood Outs. I think they're selling it. So if there is interest, next time I order with Wood Outs, I could have a look to get some in. I just thought something really different, isn't it? So let's see, are we dry? Pretty much dry. So you can see we've got crackles. Quite fine because I've done it with the heat gun, but nonetheless it's nice. Okay, just make sure that's dry right. So what I'm going to be aiming to do, oh, who've I missed? Hi Carol. We're going to be building up our piece on top of this, but before I do that, to make it easier, yeah, it's like perspex, that's the word I was trying to think of before, thank you. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Perspex, yeah. I'm going to add some colour to this before we start popping all these on, just so it's easier to get it onto our stenciling. So I'm going to start with, no, let's not do that one. Let's start with some impasto. So I'll start with the crimson. These are very pigmented and very thick. So to colour this, I don't want a full coverage, so what I'm going to do is just pop it onto my mat here, just tiny, in fact that's probably too much, and I'm going to add some water. The spray bottle's got stuck. I need to try and sort that out. Shh, very slow. That's strange. I've done something to it, obviously. It's blocked. I have to give the nozzle a rinse. Let's try this one. This one's got no water in. Ah, that'll do. Right, well, this is fresh water, so we can use a bit of this. I'm just going to dilute that down. You can see the colour is very, very strong, even with water. And I'm going to start at the top. And then I'm going to use my water spray again to drip this down. Now, I haven't got gesso on here, so it's not going to stay. Oops, I shouldn't think. No. It's a glossy surface, so it's not going to stay anywhere where I've not got this paste. It will rub off. So let's see. I'm going to just pop some up at the top section. Okay, and then I'm going to use my water spray. Oops. Hi, Georgia. Just to get that running down there. Okay. I don't want to completely cover all the white. And if we did want that to go on the background as well, all we need to do would be just to pop a coat of clear gesso onto the background there. And that would give us then a matte surface, something with a bit of bite to get that paint to stick on there. Okay, let me just grab a wipe. Okay, and I'm just going to heat that. Dry that with my heat tool rather. Hi Sandra. So you can see it's still kept a pretty vibrant colour, even that watered down. So that's another reason I love impastos. You only need the tiniest bit if you're looking to do something like this, like splatters, or just water it down. You can water it down further and further than that, and you can see how much there I've still got on my mat, tons there. And when you're adding water-based things like inks, watered-down paints, etc., on top of paste, do stop and dry every so often, or you're going to make that paste very liquid again, and it's going to ruin your crisp stenciling and just create a bit of a mess, really. So it's good to stop, take a moment to dry. And we'll go back in now with less water just to add a bit more vibrancy in some areas. We're doing like a mixed media plaque today. So this is a piece of perspex that came in a package from Wood Out. They kindly sent me. And I just thought I'd have a little play with it. So we're going to be building up this piece with some of the new AB Studio chipboards and grey boards, and some Prima mouldings, and like some metals, and we're going to add some textures as well using some more paints and some art stones. So just gone a bit bolder there in some parts. And for now I'm going to leave that as it is. I'm thinking to bring in the black and white impastos later on when we see how the rest of the piece looks. I just wanted to get a bit of colour on the background to start with. So we want to make sure this is fairly dry now, because we're going to be gluing stuff onto the surface here, and when you're gluing you want to make sure that the surface is dry. So we want to get this as dry as possible now, otherwise our pieces are just going to slide about and it won't let our glue work to its optimum. So let's get this pretty dry now. Hi Sally Ann. Thanks for joining everyone. So if you're on the group, Thompson's Craft Supplies group, you'll see that I've mentioned I'm planning the online classes. So what will happen is you'll go in store. Right, actually, let me start again. So you'll have the option to buy a kit, which will be the kit that I will use in the online class. You don't have to buy the kit though. You can still watch the video along with me live or later. You don't have to purchase the kit, but the kit will be what I'm using. So if you'd like to join me and craft along, you'll be able to purchase the kit on the store, thompsonscraftsupplies.com. There'll be a section for it there. I think I'll do a separate section to the other kits. I'm just going to get a tag and use up that paint. Don't waste it. Yep, so, and then we'll craft along together and you can come back to the video anytime. It won't disappear. And yeah, I'm hoping it'll be really fun. So we're going to start with a scrapbook class in the first one, as that's what everyone voted most popular choice. And then we'll do some other things as well. Yep, the chipboards are awesome, Sandra. So I'm going to be using these two pieces today. So that's the grey board and the chipboard. And they're in store now. There's lots of different types, and I've probably only got about half of what AB Studio actually have got to offer at the moment in those. So there'll be more we can get as well. Just put this to one side and clear that up properly later. Let's just clear this up. So yeah, it's good to have tags or like some scraps of thicker card and things to hand when you're using things like that. You can just mop up the colours. Hi Helena. Okay, so this is mostly dry. So I've had a little play around before, so I had a kind of idea. Something like this. And we're going to build these up now. So we're creating layers and we're going to add more colour to the pieces. Now I'm not entirely sure at this stage what colour I want these to be. So normally I would paint these off of the piece just because it's a bit easier to get into the details and then glue them on, but this occasion I'm not actually 100% what colour I want them, so I'm going to just do that as I go along. And I actually quite like some of the natural colours. They go with the colours quite well, so I'm not necessarily going to colour everything. So I'm going to use some 3D gel to stick these down. I've got Fabrika 3D gel, and if anything's a bit boisterous and decides it doesn't want to stick, I will get my Prima 3D gel as well, as you can never go wrong with that. And that's just a bit thicker. If you have anything really heavy, bulky, just doesn't want to stick, you can use the Prima brain has gone. I'm having a bit of a brain problem today. The Prima heavy my brain has just gone. Let's have a look. What is it called? The really thick one from Prima. Anybody want to help me here? I'm just having a moment. Keep forgetting my words today. Yeah, heavy body gel. Sorry, that's what I was trying to think of. Heavy body gel. So anything really bulky or awkward, that will be your ultimate option. I use 3D gel for most things. That's enough for most of what I use. Right, so let's get going. Hi Alison. So 3D gel. Let's use up this one first. Did I wipe my pot when I last used it? Yeah, there we go. Right, there's a little bit in here. Let's start with that. So I'm going to get a palette knife. I prefer a flat, thinner palette knife, and plastic is my preference, but it's entirely up to you. I just like that these have a lot of bend in them, and you can clean them easily, and they're not too wide, so you can get into anything without putting a great big, too much on, if you see what I mean. So I'm just taking a little bit on the end of my palette knife and just patting this. We don't need to cover the whole lot, it's just to give some contact when we pop the piece down. As long as enough is stuck, then that shall be fine. And another reason I like gel, when you've got these awkward things you're sticking on, so like where this is and it's not quite sticking, gel will get into all those little awkward crevices nice and easily, just with a bit of a push. Whereas I find glue is a bit harder to do that sometimes. That's just my personal preference. So I wanted to put this a little bit off center so that we don't lose sight of the clock. Oops, sorry. Or the cog. So this is one of the grey boards. I'll show you the piece in a minute that it comes out of. They're very, very easily come out of the main piece. Quite sort of fussy about my grey boards, chipboards, anything like that. I'm quite particular. I'm not a delicate person, so for me they need to be quite sturdy so I don't break them. So here's the one that the cogs come out of. I'll just quickly show you how easy they come out, and they're A4 size, all the ones I've got, so nice big sheets. Okay, so they just pop out like that, very easy. See, and keep all these little bits as well, because they're really handy when you want to raise up some of your work. You can use those little bits to stick underneath things. Okay, so we're going to keep bringing in the main piece. Hi Carolyn. So that we can see how it's looking, to decide where we want everything to sit. So I'm going to have this little clock down here. So again, just tapping a little bit on the back. Now these gels will dry clear as long as you don't put massive blob somewhere that's visible. It will dry clear, so you haven't got to worry about that. If you do have lots of excess sticking out, you can scrape that back off, maybe with a paintbrush to get in there, like a thin paintbrush, just like this, and just scoop that excess back out. Or you can use that to sprinkle in something like art stones or glitter or a powder to add a bit more texture to your work perhaps. So don't worry about that. Thank you, Kasha. So let's bring this back again. Okay, so you can see how quickly we've built up a piece of work here without much effort really. Okay, so now I've got some, these are moulded pieces, so I use the Prima redesigned modelling material, which comes in these little like sausage sort of shapes in the tub, like that. That's a whole piece, and it just pushes very easily without much effort at all into your moulds. So this is the Mechanica mould that those cogs have come from. Just push them in there. Then you can tip them straight out or leave them in there. I personally like to take them out, more or less as soon as I've done it. And after about 20 minutes, I like to just press on the top to flatten them down because they will shrink as they dry, just where the water's drying out of the material. Or you could put something on top of them. Just be careful it's not too heavy so you don't lose the mouldings. And I leave them overnight to dry, and then they're ready. They're very light. And the other good thing about them, if you wanted to put it on, say, a round surface, once you pop them out the mould, bend it over the piece you want and then leave it to dry, and that'll be the shape of that, whereas you can't do that with resin. Resin, obviously, you can get those that set very quickly, but I've decided I'm really not very good at resin, so I'm staying with what I know works for me. So I'm back to my modelling material. Yeah, I'm just not very good at resin. That's just me though. If you like resin and you can do resin, that's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with resin. Resin is great for more intricate mouldings. It'll get the fine details without risk of breaking. So it's just up to you what you like, really. Just for you to try out. So I'm just deciding where I want the pieces now before I stick them down anymore. If we stick something down and then we want something underneath it, that's a bit more awkward to then go back and do. Okay, so maybe something like that, and then let's bring in these metal ones as well. So it's not difficult, and I'm trying to create where we've got these holes in the cogs so that we can see bits peeking through all the layers, but also not to cover too much of everything up because we don't want to lose any of the pretty pieces. And being mindful of my stenciling, I want to see some of that. I don't want to cover it all. We will cover some, that's part of the process. Maybe like this, and then I've got a few stars. I'm just going to get it all where I want it, and then we'll start sticking it down and then deciding on the rest of the colours we want. So I'm going to use the stars now just to go out a little bit from the work, but not too much, just to kind of balance our piece. So I do like threes, so I've tried to have like 3 moulds. I've got the clock, the big cog, 3 cogs, you know, so threes make me happy. It's up to you. You can do whatever number you like, whatever makes you happy. So I'm going to take this top piece off now, and we'll come back to that, and then we'll stick down what we've got on the underneath section. So I'm using the same 3D gel. If I feel that anything's not quite sticking, I will go to my Prima gel because it's a little bit stronger. I do feel that the Fabrika gel dries quicker though than the Prima one. And as I say, if I was in any doubt about any pieces and I really wanted to make sure it's stuck, I could use the heavy gel, the heavy body gel. I seem a bit croaky today, don't I? Hoping that I'm just thirsty. I don't want another cold again. It took me ages to get rid of that one. Or was I having that there somewhere, wasn't it? Yeah, so these molds, hi Tina, yeah, they're very light, so you don't need an awful lot to stick them down as well, which is good. So I've not stuck the clock, have I? So I'm just taking a bit of my gel, spreading it on. Anything that's a bit bigger or heavier, you can put a bit more. Don't be too frightened. If you sort of stick it in the middle, when it splats down, it's not going to come out the sides too much. And the other thing I like about gel, if I bring this back in now and decide that something's not quite in the right place, you get some drying time, so you can move that around without wrecking anything. Whereas, say, glue guns, it's kind of, that's it really. It's stuck, or tape. Not that I would use tape for this, but you know, for other things. You've only got one chance with some things, and I like to move stuff. No worries, Tina. It'll be available to watch back later if you missed anything, or wanting to, you know, just clarify anything. And if you do have any questions now or after, do just pop it in the comments here and I will find them. So I think everything's stuck apart from this now. So I'm decide now whether I want this colour, because it'll be easier to colour that before this is stuck on top. Kind of like the colour of that. I think I'm going to, for now, leave it as is, but I may add some colour to this, I think. Let's see if we've got enough gel in this pot for this project. I think so. And then that'll be that one thrown out. Oops. So I want being a bit more generous now, because this is kind of our main piece. I want to make sure this sticks. Oops, that was a bit too generous there, I think. So not everywhere, but just those main parts, so that we get a nice contact. Let's have a look. It's going there. Okay, and I just need a wipe to get those excess bits there where I went a bit OTT. Let's have a look. You don't actually need the gel there. You could just use your paintbrush again, like I did before. Oops, I do apologise, I keep whacking the camera today. So you can just use your paintbrush to get those bits off that are sticking out. Let's see. They will dry clear, but it will still, you know, be visible as a texture. So, and I don't want that texture. So I'm going to get rid of as much as I can. Okay, so that looks good. I am going to add a little bit more texture. I think I've just about got enough here in this lid actually. So we're going to use the same gel. And I'm going to water it down actually a little bit. This Fabrika gel does get very thick sometimes. And I'm wanting to use it to add some art stones. So I want it to be quite fluid. You could use a soft gel, so Prima do a soft gel, or a matte medium, something along those lines. I don't know, Tim Holtz does a matte medium. Deco Art, all sorts of companies do something along those lines. So let's add a bit of water. I want it to be a bit more fluid. Oh, come on. Not too much, just a few drops. There we go. That's better. And then what I like to do is mix it into here. So I've got these art stones from Prima. There's 3 sizes, so you've got mini art stones, which is this size, or there's mega art stones. So this is the medium size. Is this one open? No, this is a new one. Ooh. I do tend to use the mini ones a lot. I thought with these pieces being quite big, the medium would be fine today. So then I just mix it in here. You can do it a different way. You can put some gel on your paintbrush, then dip into your stones, or you can put the gel onto your piece of work and then add the stones. Up to you. This is kind of my lazy way of doing it. So I mix it all together, and then I just take my paintbrush and get a scoop and then add them where I want them. So I tend to use this around the edges So like in the little fold, so I'm going to go, and it's just extending the lines of our work, bringing that texture out a bit further, and just add it, you know, if something looks a bit missing, that doesn't feel quite right, so we could go into there. Let's go inside one of the holes here, maybe up onto the top. Be in between the lines. Ah, thank you, Tina. Yeah, I like layers. I like that when you look at something, you know, you catch something different every time, like which angle you look at it from, it looks different. Lots going on, and that vibrant color underneath will draw the eye as well. Oh, I found a piece that wasn't stuck. I thought I'd missed one. Oh, let's get a bit of gel. I knew I'd missed one, but I couldn't work out which. That happens. Let's pop a bit of gel on. Okay, stick that back in. Carry on with my stones. Let's put a bit of texture on the top of the chipboard, I think. So that's quite flat now in comparison to all the layers. That would be nice. And other than colouring, I think all I want to add more to this piece will be a title. So it's just deciding on any more colour now, I think, mostly. Be on to these little bits. Yeah, I think that's probably enough. We don't want to go too crazy. Right, so let's now decide. That's going into the bin anyway, so don't worry about that. Let's just give that a dry, and then we'll decide what we want to do else with the colours. I think I'd like a little pop of black somewhere, just for some contrast. Black's great, so contrast for creating shadows too. See you later, Cleo. Have fun. Hi, Lorraine. So I'm going to just dry this first. My heat gun. The gel should dry fairly quick, because I watered it down a little bit. So if you're using a matte medium soft gel, they generally dry pretty quick, so that's another reason to use those. And again, they're clear when they dry. You can get gloss or matte, so it's up to you what the look is you're wanting. If you're then wanting to colour the stones afterwards, then do use a matte medium or gel, so that it doesn't resist anything you add to it. If you put a gloss gel on there, it's going to create a barrier basically, so any colour you add on top will just run off. So just things to think about what you're using. The gloss can be good though to add if you want to purposely add shine to something or to seal something, like a raised shine, so like you use your glossy accents or something. So just having to think what the effect is you're trying to achieve. If it's literally just glue down and nothing else, then maybe just go for a matte finish, and then, you know, you've got all bases covered if you're wanting to add some colour after. This is almost dry now. don't need to get it bone dry, we just want it dry enough any kind of paint that we're adding is not going to mix in with it and make a gloopy mess. Okay. Right, so let's see what we're gonna do. Okay, I did get this magic paint out that I definitely want to use some of, so maybe let's go for a little sprinkle of that everywhere, and then we can decide what to do from there. Now, I haven't put any gesso on this, so it is going to sink into it somewhat, so if you didn't want that to happen, you could go ahead and pop your clear gesso on the top, or white gesso. White gesso will lighten the effect a little though, clear gesso won't. So I've just tapped that on so it works like Brushos or Lindy's Magicals, and they are pigment and shimmer, so they do have some shine. Let me just transfer some of the water into this bottle, because that nozzle's not working and this one doesn't have water. But between the two, hopefully we can get a working bottle. Let's see. When I first started doing demos, I always used to forget to get my water spray bottle filled up. Here we go. That's better. And putting it on the top layer, it's going to run into our other layers, so that's going to be nice. I think that looks good, so I'd like a bit more actually. You could mix this into a gel as well and brush that on. However, I have found with this, when you mix it into a gel, it does make the shimmer not so apparent or even disappear completely. You will get the pigment still, but not so much of the shimmer. So because I haven't gessoed this, it's not going to stick on our metal. It will go a little bit onto our modeling material. So yeah, it's not going to sit on the metal. If you wanted to colour the metal, that's absolutely fine. You just pop some clear gesso on first. Right, so that looks okay. I'm going to dry that now because our piece is quite wet, and have another think. So that looks quite good. That's kind of tied the front to the back now with colour tones. I think we do need some contrast though. So I'm going to use that black as a contrast, but also to help create some shadows, so some light and dark in our piece. I know our Kasha is a fan of that too. Likes to use the black a lot, like a round. So a bit like we did with our art stone. So it's just thinking naturally where the light and dark would be on the piece. I've got a very strange black little bit coming through there. So I don't know if that's something on the chipboard perhaps. There's little pops of black. It could be in the mica though, the magic paint. It does have dark patches on the bottle. And I really love these magic paints. They just give a wow factor to your piece. Okay, so that looks good. So I'm going to go in now with some black. So black impasto paint, pitch black. Okay, and a little paintbrush. And we're just going to create some darker areas. So this will make the white and the coloured areas pop out as well a bit more. So I'm going to go mostly into the underparts, if you like, of our piece. We'll and then afterwards we'll come back with some more colour, I think, then. Okay, and the impasto paint is an unusual acrylic as well, in that it's a matte finish, so most acrylics have a gloss finish, so that's really handy. Then if you want to go back over with something else like our magic paint after, we can do, because it's matte, not gloss, so we don't need to then add the clear gesso, so it's very handy. So don't be afraid with black, just small paintbrush, delicately start. And this is going to help make parts stand out. Got some magic paint on my brush there. Get rid of that. Hi Jodie. So we're not going to go too mad with this. We don't want to lose all that lovely colour and light that we've got. We're just creating a bit of shadow. Okay. And then we'll go back in with a bit more colour. Oh, hello Shona. Thank you for joining us. That's the lovely Shona you've seen. I have been trying to raise some money for, so she can get the surgery she needs. So I have started a fundraising page for that. And I am having a bit clear out, hopefully this week if not next week, to add some of my own things to a raffle that I'm going to be holding. So do join the page. You should see the posts on here about it. So it's fundraising for Shona's surgery. And yeah, so soon I'll be doing a raffle, mostly crafty goodies, because we know lots of crafty friends who kindly donated stuff to help us, and we've had some fantastic stuff already, so I will be popping some bits in myself as well, and I'll get that done. So I think it'll be through PayPal or bank transfer. You can buy tickets, and then we'll have a raffle and we'll get prices posted out, so that'll be cool. And that's all going to go, 100% of the profits will go to Shona's surgery fund. So yeah, would really appreciate, even if you're just sharing the post, you can't perhaps donate or anything, that's absolutely fine, understand, especially after Christmas, you know, but if you can share the post even, that's fantastic. Okay, that's enough black. I don't want to ruin it, so I'm just going to dry again. And now what we're going to do is the opposite. So we're going to use some white. So we're going to lighten some areas. So maybe some of this cog. 1 to lighten, and 2 so we can add some different colours on the top. The other thing about impasto paints is they dry incredibly quick. So that is dry. They dry almost, as long as you've not put them on thick, they dry almost like gesso does. So we'll get a new paintbrush. Hi Cancelia, I hope I've said your name correctly. I do apologise if not. Okay, some white impasto. Another paintbrush. And this time we're going to lighten some areas. And so we can go into that black and like blend the two. Or if we've gone a bit heavy-handed, we can bring that back. So yeah, we're lightening, but we're also giving ourselves a matte surface to then be able to add anything else we want on top. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 here. Okay. I'm just going to tone some parts of that magic paint down as well. I do apologise, I really badly keep knocking the camera today. Keep forgetting sometimes that I'm videoing when I'm crafting and get a bit carried away. Okay, so it's starting to look good. So that's enough paint of those. Now I did have this shabby velour paint. Now this is like a textured paint, so they call them shabby velour because they're really great for creating shabby chic looking projects. So you could probably hear as I was doing that, it's quite grainy. So the best way to put this on is to dab, like stipple it on. And I'm going to go in with some of that now. And then I'm going to sort of step back a bit, have a look, see where the colours are looking. These aren't sort of colours I'd ordinarily put together, this red and this purple, but I think we can make it work. And I want to leave some of the chipboards plain because they're quite, you know, they're quite pretty as they are. So we're getting nearer to the end now. Oh, good. What do you like, the paint or the project, Lisa? They're really great paints. They dry like a flock kind of texture. And then you've also got the rustic paints in the Fabrika Decoru catalogue, which are even more grainy, so they're more like rust pastes. Hi Leslie. So a little bit onto there, a little bit onto the clock. Okay, so now for me I need to tone back a little bit, I think, and I want to bring back some of that original, this colour, because we've lost that a little bit and I really enjoyed that colour. So have I got my white paintbrush here? Ha, thank you. Yes, they're great paints. So we've got quite a good range of colours in that, and so the rustic paints I mentioned are more to create the image of rust, pardon me. They're quite heavily textured. These are more soft and they're in more kind of pastel colours generally. So good for shabby chic and sort of vintage projects. So I'm just going to give it quick dry. Again, dries pretty quick. So I think I'll go in with my crimson first to bring back that colour. Then I'm going to tone it back a little bit. So it's got a little bit too much coloured, I think. So just a touches of this on the top to bring it all together. Just tiny bit because this is very strong and textured paint, so we don't want to go too mad. Yeah, it is very vintagey. It's good for that. So we can add colour on top of the black, and it's just popping a dark colour behind that colour then, so it's creating that feel of shadow, which is really nice. No, I don't like that bit. Let's get rid of that. That's the other good thing on an acrylic surface. If you get it when it's wet, you can just wipe it back. Okay, that looks better, I think, with a touch more the pink brought in. Okay, and we're almost there now. So I'm kind of dry brushing really. I don't want too much. So just a tiny bit, then knocking it off. Okay. And yeah, so I'm gonna just blast dry again, all quick drying things, so it doesn't need long. A lot of acrylics take a long time to dry, and pasto doesn't. Okay, then I'm going to use a bit of the white again. I don't think I put the lid back properly on my white before. It's gone a little bit thick. That's fine. I can just use a little bit of water. Probably because I do this, I use my my paint top as a little palette. So I'm just going to knock back some of that colour with a touch of white, where I think it's a bit too bold. And we're almost done. Okay, I think that looks okay. Right, so let's get those out of the way. And that. Yeah, I'm happy with the colour, I think. So let's get those all out of our way. And now we need to sentiment. So I thought with this kind of vintage vibe, the Finnabair word stickers might be nice. They're on different kind of vintagey papers, like tea stain sort of look. Words part way, and then quotes, phrases, whatever you want to call them, on the second part of the pad. So first I want to decide what colour. Let's have a look. I want to go for a phrase. I think this whiter one maybe. Yeah. And let's pick something that works. So let's have a look. I'm so bad at picking. I'm so like, oh no, that's better. Oh no, I like that one. Like, yeah, really just pick something that works. Come on. So let's have a look. Bum 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 bum. Enjoy the beauty of becoming. That's quite nice for this. Dare to be powerful. I think that actually works really well. Should we have that one? Dare to be powerful. Be passionately curious. Oh, I quite like that actually. Be passionately curious. That's quite good, isn't it? Is this the... Yeah, let's have that one. So where was it? And so I'm not sticking it onto paper, so what I usually do when I do this is stick it onto something else. And actually some of the scraps of the chipboard we've got will work well for this. So if I just take this out, perfection is overrated, that would be another good one as well. I'll stick it onto here and then cut that out, so it just gives it something, a flat surface and something a bit sturdier. Don't think it needs gel popping on, it's actually alright, sticking well enough. Let's get some scissors. Yes, it is. All the ones in this book are very sort of positive affirmations. You know, just kind of about art and being brave, go for it sort of words, really. So I like that. Yeah, and a bit whimsical, dreaming, art, be yourself sort of type words. So let's get this. You can hear how nice and thick this is perfect for popping the title onto. We'll keep those bits, so they're really handy like this. See how thick, so they're great for raising stuff up on. Whoops, come back. And I think just gonna pop that right across the middle like that. So we'll get our gel. I'll just use the 3D one because I've got rid of the other one. So palette knife again, just a little bit, touches on there, stab it along there. Oops, don't do that. Yep, that looks good there. And now I really feel it needs a little gold. So I want some gold splatters. So let me see if I've got a paint or a ink spray nearby. Let me just go over to my other tub. I shall be right back. There we go. I've got some gold paint. This is a deco art one. Let's just use, oh look what I did, I made a mess everywhere. I forgot I put that tag down. That was that nice tag from the excess paint, which I forgot I put there, and then stuck stuff on top of it. Silly me. Oh, I haven't even opened this paint. Oh, I have, I've done it like that. So I'll just pop a little bit on my plastic. I hate doing this because all of a sudden it comes flying out. Hello. No, it's going to come flying out in a minute. Oh, there we go. Just a little bit. Obviously if you've got gold ink spray you can do that. I'll just use a paint, water it down, clean paintbrush. And then we're going to splat this over the top. So a little bit more paint, I think, a bit more pigment. That's better. So just popping it on my brush and then tapping it off with my finger. And get it all over your work surface and then clean it all off again. And yeah, I think that is, maybe we'll brush a little bit on as well, just to tie that gold in. That just fits in with that vintagey feel. It's created these colours, I think. That's it, we're done. So here we have our, let's try and get it from the side. So can you see, be careful because it's not all dry yet, all the nice layers we've created, and it was very simple. So we've got this cog here, the big one underneath, and this big piece are our AB Studio chipboards and grey boards. We've got this clock and this clock popping out here, which are from a friend that runs the Scrap Lab, so do check her out on Facebook. We've got these moulded pieces, are prima mouldings, using the prima redesign molds and prima molds, and I've used modelling material to do that. We've got a Finnabair word there, just popped on a bit of chipboard. We use some art stones with some watered down 3D gel. We've got a few metals stuck on, and we've got this AB Studio stencil in the background done with Prima crackling paste, and that's it folks. So do give it a go. Do use this black for creating shadows. It really does lift your work up and make it pop and have a play. And we of course used impasto paints in white, black and crimson, and we used our rustic paint here, which was lilac. No, it wasn't, it was heather, I apologise. And what else did we use? That was it, I think. Yes, so have a go. This is perspex, so but you could experiment on any surface you have, so especially after Christmas we've got so much packaging, leftover plastics and cardboard and all sorts, that you're going to have a surface that's going to be great to work on. So grab some bits and bobs you've got and have a play. See you again next time. Bye.